This is Black Woman CEO. Welcome to the only podcast dedicated to giving you the raw and real experiences of successful Black women entrepreneurs. Yes, girl, we're talking about the behind the scenes strategies of what it takes to increase in your profit, power, and purpose. I am your host, Quanisha Green, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Welcome back, or welcome in general, to our live virtual summit, Maintaining Calm and Confidence During Crisis. And in this segment or session, we have Jamie Newton-Knight, who's going to talk to you about keeping your family afloat amidst the chaos. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, everyone.
I'm so glad that she's here. So before Jamie gets started with her presentation, I wanted to just, cue up why we're doing this in the first place. So at this time, we're in a world pandemic called the coronavirus. And yes, that's what the World Health Organization is calling it. I promise you, I'm not being extra and saying this. And it's really unprecedented. Like, I feel like hopefully in our lifetime, this would be the only thing that only time we're experiencing this, but of course we've had these instances throughout history. So I'm really hopeful that we'll recover because of the other pandemics we've come back. But in this we've had to shift our way of life, everyone. Like, people are working from home. We're on self-quarantine or mandatory quarantine. Countries are shutting down. Even New York City probably is going to shut down in 48 hours. And Jamie maybe can speak to that because she's in New York City, my home, my place of origin. Yes. But right. And so particularly in times of crisis, what we wanted to do is really I wanted to kind of host, bringing in Black women CEO experts so that you can learn effective strategies to navigate this unexpected worldwide event. Because here's the thing, times of crisis are particularly hard-hitting for entrepreneurs and small business owners. So whether you're doing this as a full-time thing like me, where it's business or bust, right? Or you're doing this in parallel to a career, you may be seeing these shifts. And also holistically, you're going to be dealing with different things. Some of you are working from home. Like, I have kids at home and I was like, I cannot focus right now because I'm used to them being in school, right? So I'm glad that Jamie's here to talk to us about the family aspect of all of this and navigating not just kids, but, generations, right? Seniors, elders, and especially when we're so concerned about some folks with medical conditions and our elders, because those are the folks who are being hard hit by this. And so once again, this content is evergreen, right? Whether in good or bad times, or particularly we're speaking to this crisis and how to help you navigate through it. And before I turn it completely over to Jamie, I want to do two housekeeping things. So if you've been listening to all day, you're like, here, Quanisha, go, right? So one, I want you to help us to pay it forward and help another sister rise. The way we do that, right? So we're going to repurpose this as a podcast, but while you're here live on Facebook, one of the ways that you do that is by interacting with the video. So when you leave comments or hit those little reactions, we want to let Jamie know you're resonating with what she's saying. So definitely share your insights, aha moments, hit those reactions, whether you're watching it live or the replay. And if you're here for the first time, put 1 for your first time so we can welcome you. And if you've been hanging out with us for a while, put CEO sister. And if you're listening to the podcast, one way that you can support is you can look in the description and click the link to watch the video, or you can leave a comment so that we know what's resonating with you. And that also helps our work to go out further. So once again, this is about helping another sister rise. So I'm going to hand it over to Jamie, right? And let her take over so that she can talk about how you keep your family afloat amidst the chaos. And thank you so much once again, Jamie, for joining.
Thank you. So I'm going to be talking about keeping your family afloat amidst the chaos. Like, we all know there's a lot of things going on right now. And when you hear crisis and pandemic, like it starts to make you nervous. Like, we all get that nervous energy. So I'm gonna talk about a couple different things today. So first, I want to start off with my name. I'm Jamie Newton-Knight. I am the owner of the Cocoa Blend, which is the long name for it is the Cooperative Co-Parenting Blend and Blended Black Family. A little bit about me is that I am the happily married wife of Orlando, and I have 4 amazing children. My children range in age from 26, 19, 8 and 5. I have my 2 older children are actually from previous relationships, and my 2 youngest are with my husband. That story is all of the wonderful things that I talk about in my groups on Facebook and on Instagram. So feel free to come on over and join us if you are in a blended family or are co-parenting and you want to talk about it. Come on over. I'm a coach and speaker for blended families and co-parents. My full-time job is that I work as a secretary for a New York State agency. I'm also an online fitness coach, and I'm presently a grad student, but soon to be graduate with my master's in marriage and family therapy, which I'm extremely excited about. So what do I do? What does Jamie do? Hold on one second. Let me try to. I help women master their communication, achieve their ideal life, and create harmony in their relationships and beyond. This is definitely have been revamped, but it's amazing thing for mothers to know that they can master their communication and have and live their ideal life. So first, I want to talk about 3 different ways that you can prepare for unforeseen events. So the first way is that you can create a plan. And when I say create a plan, I mean create that plan full out. Sit down as a couple and discuss that plan full out. Not, this is what we could possibly do. No, full out. So whether that means 2 weeks of one person staying home with the kids and 2 weeks of the other person staying home with the kids, or some households operate by role. Like sometimes it's the mom is the stay-at-home parent, or so the mom will fulfill that role, or the mom is the breadwinner, so dad stays at home. Whatever way your family needs to create that plan, you create it accustomed to your own family. So we're going to talk about the next thing, which is be prepared to restructure your plan if necessary. And the reason I'm saying that is because even though you plan things, we all know that you got to be prepared for things to come up. Expect the unexpected. Be flexible. I have a hard time being flexible sometimes. So when changes occur, it makes me crazy. But the reason I say this is because my husband and I created a plan. In New York, we just had news over the past weekend. Most schools have already been closed or had noticed that you guys will be closing for 2 weeks. In New York, we hadn't received the news yet, so our kids were still in school. So we decided to come up with a plan, and the plan was that I'm going to stay home for 2 weeks and work remotely because my job affords that ability. My husband's job is not as flexible as mine, so it was my I'm going to stay home, you continue to go to work. However, when the New York State, when Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio came out with their news, which was that, hey, guess what? We're actually going to keep the kids out for an entire month. Then that was a whole entire new thing that I had to prepare for. I had to restructure the plan that we created. The plan was for me to stay home for 2 weeks with the kids because most states had 2 weeks off. I figured, hey, New York will have 2 weeks off too. New York has a month plus off, right? So now we had to restructure that plan. And even though it made me a little antsy, right? because it was not a circumstance that I was expecting, it's something that needed to be done, right? You have to expect the unexpected. The third way is to find a side hustle, right? Some parents already have that side hustle. Some parents do virtual assistant. Some parents, I know a couple moms who clean houses. I know people who are fitness coaches. I'm a fitness coach on the side. Hone in and discover what your passion is and make that your side hustle. You need to do that so that, you don't need to do that. It's something that you can have as a side thing so that you're not stuck in a place financially where you're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? Right? There's a lot of moms now out creating their own businesses who have full-time jobs. like myself, I have a full-time job, but I come home and my business is something I do on the side. So make sure that you have something, going on so that these unforeseen situations come up. The first thing is to have a budget and a savings, really. But I'm speaking to people who are like, oops, I'm working paycheck to paycheck. I don't even have enough to put in a savings, or which shouldn't be the case, but I know it is reality that is the case. So in this event, these are 3 ways that you can prepare for those unforeseen circumstances. The next thing is that we're going to talk about 4 strategies for keeping your kids from freaking out. So I call it keeping kids calm. First, you're going to be honest. You're going to have an honest dialogue, but you have to make that dialogue age appropriate. So you can't go and tell a 5-year-old that there's this crisis going on outside and that people are dying. You can't do that to a small child, right? So because you cannot do that, you have to have these conversations with children as per their age. So on an age appropriate level, I might tell my son who is 8 and my daughter who's 5, this is, what's happening is the same symptoms of the flu. So you will feel fever and, coughing, but it's a little bit more serious than the flu, especially for people who are older or who already have health issues or who have respiratory issues. So you explain it to them in a way that they can understand this thing. Another thing is allowing them to ask questions. Sometimes parents don't want to answer questions. It's like, this is what it is, and that's it. Or they don't want to answer questions because they don't know exactly what to say. They don't have the exact words. They don't know the proper thing to say or how to say it. And so because of that, they're standoffish when it comes to kids asking questions. But you have to allow your kids to ask questions. Those questions could tell you the way that they're feeling and help you understand what you need to do or what you need to say next. Another thing is that you need to be honest about your own feelings and ask them theirs. So if you're afraid, like, mommy's a little scared too about what's going on, but we're just going to keep track of the news and see what's going on and how we can keep ourselves safe. Or these are the precautions we have in place so that we are keeping ourselves safe. But you have to be honest about your feelings too. If you're telling the kids keep calm, but they can see you in panic mode, then they know, they read from what we do. They can feel everything that we're going through. If we're in panic, believe me, they're going to feel like, uh-oh, mommy's panicking. Some reason, maybe I should panic too. So if you're feeling anxious, then you have to be honest about that. Like, I'm feeling a little anxious, but I'm going to keep track of the news and I'm going to try to keep us safe in this household. These are the things that we're going to do. And like I said, if they have questions, then make sure you're open to answering those questions and also being open to asking them how they feel. What are their feelings? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling scared? Why do you feel scared? So that's the conversation you need to have. Also, keeping busy with family fun. I feel like I have completely distracted my kids from this thing that's going on around them by keeping them busy with fun things to do. So of course, if they're sitting in the living room and the TV is on, or they're sitting in their room and the TV is on, then they're going to see what's on the news. They're going to see what's on TV. And that's not really helpful because they're going to, oh, there's news on again. It's a crisis and going on. And so you want them to keep busy with fun things to do. Sometimes, like my children, I give them their tablets on the weekends. So even though there's no school right now, they're all like, hey, but we don't have school, so why can't we use our tablets? I'm just trying to keep with the structure that we've already had in place. I don't want it to, but in the place of them playing their tablets, I want them to have fun games to play. So we have a junior Scrabble game that we played the other night. Last night we had movie night. We sat and watched Good Burger. I'm just trying to find things for them to do. And I allow them to decide, what is it that you want to do tonight as a family, to keep them distracted from the chaos that's going on around them and to keep them busy. Because for New Yorkers, I'm not sure about everybody everywhere in New York, but I know where I am, because this news just came for our schools, most of the teachers didn't have anything in place. So our kids don't have a homework packet yet. Our children don't have access to online classes yet. That's supposed to happen on Friday or starting Monday. So we are working from that place of me trying to find things for them to do in the meantime before that comes up. So yeah, just keeping family fun things to do. I added 2 tips for caring for elderly parents and family members for a couple reasons. So in my family, my mother lives with her brother. She lives in South Carolina right now. It's not as such of a big crisis as it is here in the city with so many people who are experiencing symptoms. But my dad is in an assisted living facility. And so because of that, they are on lockdown. So knowing that they are on lockdown, you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do as this child of a parent who is on lockdown pretty much? So the main thing to me, excuse me, if your parents are home and they physically live with you or you're physically able to care for them, make sure they have what they need. Food, I was going to say toilet paper, but that's, if you can find all the things that that these families need, like make sure that they have the things that they need so that they don't have to navigate outside of the household, so that they don't have to be exposed to this. If they have doctor's appointments that aren't urgent, maybe they can be rescheduled for another time. Things like that, just making sure you're able to allow them to have the things that they need. And for me, like I said, my father's in an assisted living facility. I have to stay connected. Staying connected for me, because there's no visitation, no one can visit for the next 2 weeks, is calling. So I'm constantly calling him to see what's going on, to see what he's doing, to see how things are going. So that's how I stay connected with him. So those are the 2 tips for caring for your elderly parents or your family members. Make sure to keep checking on them. Like if you don't live with them, check on them. Staying connected is a major thing. So that is my presentation. And I just wanted to say, the way that you guys can stay connected with me is by scheduling a free Motherhood Mastery Clarity session. And we can talk about whatever the greatest challenge you have in terms of co-parenting and blended families. And I can give you some strategies on moving forward.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. I am sharing your stuff out to everyone while we are here. So 1 second, just give me 1 more second. So one, I definitely encourage you, Jamie, thank you for such great tips. And I'm glad that you talked about the span of generations and what we can do at this time. And so definitely, if you enjoyed this, particularly the parents out there, as well as those who are taking care of older parents, definitely hit those hearts to let Jamie know that this resonated with you. And actually, let me see how I can stop the share. Can you stop the share on your end? So let me see. Okay, this way they can see both of us.
We're here.
Yes. Okay, so we're here. So just thank you so much for talking about it from the span and giving us different viewpoints. And I really enjoy, especially as a parent of 2 young boys, thinking about their exposure. And I think they haven't been, but once again, it's been talked about so much at school and at home, and thinking about, okay, how is that impacting them? They seem okay because they're on their tablets, right? But it's a disruption in their schedule, right? And so I think really thinking about that. And I also enjoyed your information about being intentional with your spouse, because sometimes you'll think each other were reading their minds. It's like, no, you should actually sit down and be on the same page.
Right.
Like, I'm like, what he's talking about. And then he'll go do something. I'm like, what? Do that? Like, I don't understand. Like,
Right.
why are the dishes still in this thing? He's like, I thought like, it's the pandemic and we're like, oh, the dishes ain't washed and my house cleaner can't come, right? So not to be all bougie and privileged, but I really work hard to have that house cleaner, y'all. And so she was exposed by a family, right? And then also we're just like, we're quarantined. I'm like, even though you're negative, like I still, limiting exposure. So it's such a unique experience, so much different than working from home and navigating the regular things. So thank you so much for giving us that advice and tips on how to really, maintain, like you said, maintaining the chaos as a family amidst this crisis and how we can address different levels of our family members. So let me quickly go to the comments to read here.
Oh, I'm sorry. And that was another thing, just like you said, your cleaner was exposed. We were exposed to it at a restaurant by my job. And so when I found out, now that initial finding out, you're like, what? And so having that conversation with the kids, you have to explain to them, I might get sick. This is the process. This is what's going to happen, so that they're not completely on like full panic mode. My son is 8, but he's asking every day, like, what's going on with this coronavirus? I'm like, why? You want to go back to school? No, I just want to know. Like, I don't want to touch anyone. Or I'm like, okay, you're okay because we're staying in the house.
Yeah. And, it's funny, as we get adults, we forget about how our mind was as children and how like we take everything in. Yeah, and even my children are like, where's her name? I don't want to say her name. Where's Kay? Right? And I'm like, oh, well, Kay can't come because, and I'm not saying she was exposed. It was like, oh, well, we all have to stay at home. She has a daughter, right? So like explaining, they're like, we haven't seen Kay in a week. Like, where is she? Because she does stuff with the kids even when she's here. So yeah, it's really different. And thank you for helping me shift. Like, once again, you're a parent, you're doing stuff, but like, oh, they're probably taking in all these emotions. And I'm thinking more about their feelings now in that regard of, what they may be going through. And Seneca says, yes, my child has anxiety and freaks out daily. I'm not sure if she's talking about that in the context, but Nicole said, yes, because they feel the vibe. Seneca said, yep, they have questions and concerns too.
Yes,
and then I'm trying to see. Cassandra says, thank you. I don't have small kids anymore, but I do care for my grandkids every now and again. And once again, if you all have additional insights, aha moments, if you're listening to the replay, if you listen to this even on the podcast, leave a comment to say how this landed for you. And Jamie, any last, I guess, words of wisdom you would like to share with us as we're navigating this with our families amidst the chaos, as you said? Keeping them afloat.
Right. I want to say don't panic, but the reality is like, feel what you're going to feel. But like, we all have to learn how to deal with those emotions, like talking about it and actually just being honest about it, I think is the main thing. Like just knowing your children, being allowed to know that you have an open door policy and we could talk about what you feel whenever you want. I think that's going to be really important, because I took for granted that my kids felt anything. Like the parents are the ones that have to shift everything. They have no school and they're fine. But the reality is that they did feel, and that I guess they could feel the energy that we were putting out. Right. And so it's really important to keep that line of communication open with the kids.
Yeah, and I definitely want to encourage everyone. I just pasted it in the group to definitely schedule that Motherhood Mastery. One thing that I really love what Jamie does is that she focused particularly on folks who are in the co-parenting relationship, but really helping moms to become the mom they want to be and live the life that they desire. Let me know if you're someone who has sacrificed yourself and you're doing all this stuff and you're like, wait, where am I in all
more than everybody else is done.
And while I don't co-parent, I can still understand that sentiment of like, am I being a good mom? Am I doing this right? And I can just imagine how much more complex that is when you add in this whole other person and just like, am I being a good co-parent? And I got to manage that relationship. So Jamie helps with a whole bunch of things like communicating well with your co-parent and your new significant other, or just even if you're single, like as the co-parent relationship and managing the kids part. And then once again, that eternal piece of confidence and, getting over doubt and helping you really chart your path for the type of mother that you want to be within that blended family context. So if you've been thinking about this or you want support or even a plan of action, definitely connect with Jamie on that. She is really great at what she does, and she is trained in these areas professionally with the city and different things like that. Like she said, she's about to graduate her master's, so she's highly qualified, as I like to say. All these ladies that we bring in, once again, the people, like whether you're on the expert level or a member of Black Women CEO in our general community, or you become paid, you all are highly educated Black ladies, right, with an expertise. And so I'm glad that we can bring folks that you can respect, right, who are of your caliber or higher, who can really help you with all aspects of life that's impacting us as entrepreneurs and small business owners, no matter where you are, right, at the spectrum, doing all level of business. So thank you so much, Jamie, for joining.
Thank you for having me. This is such an amazing event. All the ladies were so amazing today. It's like, it was good to be able to take a deep breath with them. And like I told you before, like, you don't understand sometimes that moment of reset that you really, really need it, especially right now within all this chaos. So I think you covered it all today with self-care and mental minds. Like, you covered it all. So thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. And thank you for accepting my invitation to be here. So once again, I want to leave everyone with our motto that power is the ability to create your reality, right? And so go forth and be powerful, sister. And we will talk with you soon. Oh girl, the episode stopped, but the party is not over. I want you to go ahead and subscribe, like, and rate this show. Leave us a comment sharing your takeaways. And when you're done with that, come on over to blackwomenceo.com, join our movement. And when you do that, you'll get the special invitation to join us in our community. Well, I would love to put a face to that name, girl. So this is Quanisha signing off, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace and love.